The movie is about a girl named Yuakawa Ni, who's finally getting past some tough times and looking forward to a brighter future. But then, out of the blue, this teenage guy named Karuto Kurosaki stops her. He tells her she's his servant and has to do whatever he says, and even kisses her without warning. Akawa Ni's totally shocked and pushes Kurosaki away, refusing to be his servant. But he keeps insisting, and as he walks off, she calls him a demon. Not long after that, another guy named Takumi Shirakawa approaches Akawa Ni. He looks different from Kurosaki and acts in a strange way. He confuses Akawa Ni by pointing at her lips. So she asks if he's going to pretend to be her boyfriend like Kurosaki did, but he quickly says no. Instead, he gets closer and tells her that her brighter life has already begun. Then he gently touches her finger to his lips, kisses her, and says he'll show her what real love is all about. Akawa Ni's left feeling bewildered because she's gotten 2 kisses in just a few minutes. Next, the story takes us back to Akawa Ni's past. Back then, she looked quite different. She had these thick glasses and her classmates used to make fun of her a lot. She went through a tough time dealing with bullies until she decided to change her appearance and move into a dormitory. That's where she'd first met Kurosaki, who was the leader of the dorm. Kurosaki would annoy her a lot, and it all started when she accidentally cut his hair. After that, he made her his servant and told her she had to do whatever he said. One of those orders led to him stealing Akawa Ni's first kiss. But then, something interesting happened. Akawa Ni met Shirakawa, who was like the expert in romance. Unlike Kurosaki, Shirakawa was really sweet to Akawa Ni and took good care of her. He even asked her to pretend to be his girlfriend so she could make more friends. However, Kurosaki didn't stop bothering her completely. Over time, though, he began to change and became kinder to Akawa Ni. She got closer to both Kurosaki and Shirakawa, almost like they were the white horse prince and the devil. It seemed like they were starting to fight for her attention, even though Akawa Ni knew they were both interested in her for their own reasons. She just wished she could get to know them better. On their way to school, Shirakawa challenged Kurosaki to a competition. It turns out that back at the dorm, Shirakawa had confessed his feelings for Akawa Ni, but Kurosaki insisted that she was his. They all ended up being late for class. When Akawa Ni tried to take her seat, she saw Kurosaki sitting in the back. As usual, he bothered her and told her to pull weeds after school, and even bit her ear. Their friends were aware of Akawa Ni's situation with both Shirakawa and Kurosaki, especially after Shirakawa joined Akawa Ni for lunch. During lunch, Akawa Ni asked Shirakawa about his behavior the morning he kissed her. Shirakawa finally admitted he really liked her, but Akawa Ni found it hard to believe. She didn't deny that he could like her, though. Shirakawa put his arm around her shoulders and continued to protect her. His declaration of love kept echoing in her mind as she carried out Kurosaki's orders to clean the garden. She also asked Kurosaki to stop bossing her around at that time, but he instead threatened to do worse things to her. Later, while sitting in the common room and listening to Kurosaki playing the piano, Akawa Ni was surprised by the arrival of Kurosaki's friend, Yusuka Kazi. So, when Akawa Ni complained about Kurosaki's behavior, her friend Kazi defended him, calling him a good guy. Kazi explained that Kurosaki's piano playing was so emotional that it could touch anyone's heart. Kazi shared that he used to be bullied in middle school until Kurosaki became his friend. Akawa Ni promised not to reveal Kazi's past. Then, Akawa Ni received a message from a classmate named Meiko Ashikawa, who came to visit her in the dorm. Ashikawa saw Kurosaki's shirt and thought it belonged to Shirakawa. Akawa Ni wanted to talk about Kurosaki and Shirakawa, but got interrupted as they were called to play basketball together. Ashikawa was really good at basketball and claimed that no guy could beat her. However, when Kurosaki joined the game, he defeated Ashikawa. Later, Shirakawa challenged Kurosaki to a basketball match with Akawa Ni as the bet. Ashikawa supported Kurosaki, and that's when Akawa Ni realized Ashikawa had feelings for him. Ashikawa had liked Kurosaki since the previous summer when he saved her from drowning in the pool. She decided to break up with her boyfriend because of her growing feelings for Kurosaki. Akawa Ni then revealed that Shirakawa had confessed his love to her. On the basketball court, Akawa Ni couldn't help but watch Kurosaki. He won the match against Shirakawa, but Shirakawa was determined not to give up on pursuing Akawa Ni. One rainy night, Akawa Ni and her friends gathered in the common room of the dorm. Shirakawa saw Akawa Ni struggling to pour tea and helped her. They held hands briefly. The power went out, and while Shirakawa and Ashikawa went to get a flashlight, Kurosaki and Akabane were left alone. Kurosaki hugged Akabane and accused her of being unfaithful, saying he would make sure she remembered who she belonged to. When the power came back, Shirakawa apologized for leaving Akabane alone and noticed kiss marks on her neck, left by Kurosaki. Akabane felt guilty, especially considering Ashikawa's feelings for Kurosaki. She decided to support Ashikawa's feelings so they could be together. While at school, Akabane suggested that Ashikawa invite Kurosaki, since they had 2 extra tickets to the amusement park. They all went to the amusement park together, and Akabane tried to bring Ashikawa and Kurosaki closer. They heard about a legend that said a kiss at the top of the Ferris wheel could make couples closer. At the park, they had a blast, trying out different games and having fun. When Shirakawa noticed that Akabane was cold because she didn't have gloves, he held her hand and put it in his jacket pocket. Akabane suggested that Ashikawa and Kurosaki ride the Ferris wheel together. At first, Ashikawa refused, but eventually they went for the ride, while Shirakawa and Akabane took a walk together. Out of the blue, Shirakawa hugged Akabane and asked her to be his girlfriend. Surprisingly, even though she got a love confession from the White Knight, Akabane didn't seem happy. When they got back, they couldn't find their friends. While Shirakawa went to buy a drink, Kurosaki took Akabane on the Ferris wheel to kiss her. Shirakawa got confused when he couldn't find Akabane and met Ashikawa and Kazi. He saw the Ferris wheel and guessed that Kurosaki and Akabane were kissing. Kurosaki and Akabane returned together, but she lied, saying she got lost and accidentally ran into Kurosaki. After they got back to the dormitory, Akabane wondered why she couldn't say no to Kurosaki and felt like his influence was spreading through her like poison. Meanwhile, Shirakawa talked to Kurosaki in their dorm room about Akabane. Shirakawa said that if Kurosaki and Akabane started dating, it would mark the end of their childhood friendship. While sweeping the dormitory grounds, Akabane noticed a piano in an empty building and decided to give it a try. Out of nowhere, Kurosaki suddenly appeared behind her and helped her play the piano. After they finished playing, Kurosaki surprised Akabane by saying that she was no longer his servant and that he was satisfied with her. Akabane returned to the dorm feeling sad, even though she was confused because she should have been happy. She ended up crying alone in her room. At school, Akabane continued to feel down, especially because Kurosaki was ignoring her. Ashikawa noticed Akabane's sadness, and Shirakawa also saw that she wasn't her usual self. When Shirakawa asked, Akabane told him that she didn't have to obey Kurosaki anymore and was free. This made her even sadder because she felt like she wasn't needed anymore. That night, Kurosaki couldn't sleep and went to the empty building, reminiscing about playing the piano with Akabane. The next day at school, Akabane apologized to Ashikawa and confessed that she had feelings for Kurosaki. She felt guilty because she knew Ashikawa liked Kurosaki too. Ashikawa reassured her that their feelings wouldn't affect their friendship, even though she wasn't ready to give up on making Kurosaki like her. Akabane felt relieved by Ashikawa's words, and they hugged. Meanwhile, Kurosaki challenged Shirakawa to a basketball match, and they bet on Akabane. Shirakawa asked Kurosaki if he let go of Akabane because of him. It seemed like every person Shirakawa liked ended up liking Kurosaki, and Kurosaki always gave up on them for Shirakawa's sake. That's why this time, Shirakawa purposely got closer to Akabane, the girl Kurosaki had feelings for. Kurosaki finally challenged Shirakawa to a real basketball game, and they made a deal that if Shirakawa lost, he would completely back off from pursuing Akabane. The basketball match got intense. Shirakawa and Kurosaki gave it their all to win, and it all came down to who would score the next point to win Akabane's heart. Despite Shirakawa's efforts to defend, Kurosaki managed to score the winning point. Kurosaki then admitted that he hated losing, but had always lost to Shirakawa. They both shared a laugh, just like good friends do. The scene changes as Shirakawa meets Akabane. He confesses his love to her, but Akabane turns him down, explaining that she already has feelings for someone else. Shirakawa mentions he talked to Kurosaki and felt defeated for the first time, thanking Akabane. He asks her to touch his lips as a sign to reset their relationship back to being just friends. After that, Shirakawa gently pushes Akabane away, and she rushes to find Kurosaki. Akabane searches for Kurosaki in the dormitory and the empty building where the piano is located, but he's nowhere to be found. Then, Kurosaki calls and tells Akabane to meet him on a hill within 5 minutes. When she arrives, Kurosaki teases her for being 3 minutes late and changes his mind, saying that she'll continue to be his servant indefinitely. He claims that she belongs to him and will be his girlfriend. Akabane refuses, not wanting to be Kurosaki's servant, and instead, she confesses her love for him and hugs him. The movie ends with Kurosaki shying away from Akabane's gaze, but then he turns around and jokingly threatens to kiss her, which she playfully agrees to. But in the end, it's Akabane who kisses Kurosaki first. So the moral of the story is never underestimate the power of a good old-fashioned basketball match to settle matters of the heart, because sometimes love really is a slam dunk.